Hey guys, it's Adrian from Adrian's Adventure. So today I'm filming for a new vlog, and this vlog will talk about how I got my Schengen visa, and I'm also going to give tips on how I was able to get those visas. Actually, I had 3 Schengen visas, and I got those 3 Schengen visas from 2 different countries. The first one was from Czech Republic, while the second and third Schengen visa came from Greece. So let's talk about what is Schengen visa. So Schengen visa is basically a short stay visa which allows someone to enter the Schengen zone area of member countries who are members of this Schengen area, where you can come and go freely. And I think they give, the maximum they give is 90 days. I know someone, my friend, who did an exchange program through Erasmus. He was given 90 days, multiple entries. And I think the minimum they give, I'm not sure what's their minimum. I think if you're doing a vacation or tourist, if they give you a tourist type visa, maybe 5 days, 7 days. It really depends on your itinerary. So guys, as I told you, I had 3 Schengen visas. The first visa I got, it was, I think, February of 2017. I got that from Czech Republic. The second one from Greece. The same year, 2017, I got it in the month of June or July, I forgot. And the last visa that I had, Schengen visa, I had it recently, last June. They awarded me a visa. The last one was a multiple entry. So, let me talk briefly about my visa. So my first visa, my first Schengen visa, my first ever Schengen visa, I got it for 7 days, single entry within the Schengen area. So basically that visa, it was easy to get because I was with a tour. So all my supporting documents came from the tour: hotel, flight details, transfer from one city or one country to another. So it was an easy application, I guess you can say that. It was a very smooth sailing application. I think the only problem that I encountered, me and my friends encountered during that application, was that there was a problem with our health insurance. Our health insurance didn't show our birth of date, and they wanted our birth of date to be shown in that health insurance. And good to know, the Czech embassy was so accommodating. We came very early. Our schedule was around 9:30. We were 4 girls with my friends, and then they asked us, like, can you get a new health insurance? And then, sure, we can, but we don't know where, because it was at the capital, because we don't know exactly where can we get a new health insurance. And then they told us, like, oh, you could just go somewhere there. There's a lot of travel insurance there. So we were like, okay, we went there, and they just only told us, like, come back before 12, because after 12, consular services on visa application would be closed. So they only accommodated us from 9 to 12. I think their consular office for visa, it's only half day. And then we ran to get the travel insurance, and we're able to get back even before 12. We were done even before 12. I think that was the only problem I had. My second visa was from Greece. This visa was kind of tricky. I was not tricky, how can I say, like, I had doubts when I applied for my second Schengen visa, the Embassy of Greece. Now, my problem with that application process was that I was going to apply for 20 days. Just imagine, 3 weeks. No, it was even 3 weeks, more than 3 weeks. I think 22, 23 days. I applied for 23, 22 days, something like that. And then the embassy told me, like, you're going for touristic purposes. And normally, tourist itinerary can give is 10 days. That's it. The maximum they can give, 10 days. But me, I wanted to apply more than 10 days. I even want to apply more than 3 weeks, like 23 days. So I was also nervous because I didn't anticipate that kind of question, because I thought like, oh, I already had a previous Schengen visa. So I was so, confident. I was so high in spirit that I'll be able to apply worry-free, problem-free, because I know already how it works. But that wasn't the case. They asked me to justify why do I want to stay for 23 days. And then I told them that I want to explore, not only the capital, I want to also go to other neighboring cities. And then they asked me for my accommodation, and I showed them. But the problem was with that accommodation is that the accommodation was only at Athens, but it was good for 23 days. So they were also skeptical. Now, if you're going to travel from other cities, why is your accommodation only at Athens? And then I told them, oh, I'm going, to come back in the evening. And then they asked me, do I have a friend, someone who wants to invite me there, because 23 days is too long. And then I told them like, my friend is there. And then they asked me, is your friend Greek or foreigner? I said my friend is a foreigner. And then they asked for my friend's visa. Good thing my friend's visa, Schengen visa, was good for 90 days, and it was multiple entries. So I texted my friend, and immediately he emailed me a copy of his visa. I printed it out. I came back immediately to the embassy, and then I submitted it to them. And then they told me like, okay, we'll deliberate your case because your case is kind of different from the others. And then I said like, okay, I'll wait. And then lo and behold, after 2 days, they called me and they said like, your visa is ready, and it will be delivered tomorrow. So again, I was still nervous during that time because I don't know like what do they mean your visa is ready. Is it denied or was it accepted? I didn't know during that time. And then the delivery man came the next day, and then it is the funny part. I even asked the delivery man, so do I have the visa? Is it approved, denied? And then he told me, oh, I'm just delivering. I don't know. I don't open packages. And I said like, oh yeah, I forgot about that. And then I got the visa. I opened it immediately, and I saw they granted me visa good for 25 days. They even give me 25 days, and it was single entry only, but still it was something great because you're given 25 days. Tourist, my type of visa was tourist, under tourist, and I was given 25 days to stay in the Schengen area. And then lastly, my third visa came recently this year, 2019, last June. This time it's with a tour. And this time I applied to a third party, because here in Turkey, when you want to apply for a Schengen visa, normally it's with a third party. Now, embassies doesn't accept visa application directly from applicants, except if you're staying more than 3 months. That's far enough. If you're staying more than 3 months, you can apply directly to the embassy. But if your purpose of travel is business, tourist, visiting a family or anything, you need to go directly to the third party, which is VFS here in Turkey. So this is kind of it's kind of, how can I describe it, problematic, because the people receiving your documents are not the people from the embassy. So sometimes these people who accept your documents would ask you further documents. And then when you try to justify, but on the website it's written like this, like that, why are you asking for more documents? They would tell you like, oh, we're just working here, we're not from the embassy, so we need this kind of document. So it was kind of problematic because I went twice, not only once. The first time I went to apply for the visa, I think there was a problem with my documents from the tour. They wanted all my documents to be stamped and signed from the tour company. And then the tour company that I bought, the Balkan tour, it was a Balkan tour, it was situated at Istanbul. So the tour company had to mail me my tour documents. So I came back after a week. When I came back, I had all my documents. Now, the thing is, they were asking again for my student certificate from Yok website. And I said like, why didn't you tell me that the first time I arrived? Like, why do you want me to print that document now when you could just have told me when I first came? And then he said like, oh, it's easy, you just need to download it and print it. And the worst part, when you print it at that company, third company, it costs too much. I think their printing costs 2 lira, and normally it just costs 25 cents outside. So you see the trick, like, why do I have to print for 2 lira if I could print outside? But anyhow, I did it because I don't want to come back again, because I live in another city. I printed it out, that's it. And then after 2 days, the embassy called me, and then they told me that we need your document from York. Can you send us through this email? And I said, I already attached my documents, all my documents, when I applied. And they said, like, we could not scan your York document. So I was very nervous, because why can't they scan my York document when I in fact printed it on the day of my application? But I did it. I downloaded my York document and sent it to their website. And then after 30 minutes, a person from the embassy called me again, and then she told me that they still couldn't scan my York document because it has a barcode somewhere down right. It has a barcode, and they told me we still could not scan your York documents. And then I told them that, but I'm a student, but you can check it in the university. And they told me, okay, we'll just do that. We'll just call the university and ask whether you're a student or not. I said, yeah, sure, you can. After 4 days, mailman called me like, I'm delivering your passport today. And then when he delivered it, I was so nervous because this visa should be multiple entry. I was hoping for a multiple entry guide because I was going to a Balkan tour, and you know that Balkan countries are not members of all, they're not members of a Schengen country, not all. So this time I applied to Greece because Greece was part of the tour, and it's the only Schengen member country in that Balkan tour. So it arrived, I opened it immediately because I want to know, like, did I get the multiple entry? Or did they give me single entry? Because if it's single entry, it's useless. I could not join the Balkan tour because I need a multiple entry. But when I opened it, it was multiple entries, and this time they gave me, I think, let me see. I applied only for 8 days multiple entries, and I think Greece gave me, okay, multiple entries, good for 18 days. So there was an extra 10 days, but I wasn't able to use the other 10 days. I didn't go anywhere. I was just stuck here. Now, I want to give you some tips on how I was successfully able to get my Schengen visa. And I hope these tips can will be able to help you to also get your Schengen visa. Because as you know, not all passports are really lucky to be able to travel to all countries visa-free. Unfortunately, there are passports that are not as strong as other countries' passport. So I'll give you some tips on how I was able to got my Schengen visa, my 3 Schengen visas. So I think the first thing that you need to do is that you need to check the website before you go to any embassy or any third parties that you want to lodge your application. So it's very important that you check their website, read it carefully, go through it carefully, because sometimes you will be able to miss some points maybe that you don't know. So that's very important that you read and go through their websites. And it's also important that you call either the embassy or the third party and ask them, like, what documents do I need to apply for visa? Okay, really go with it, because I think it's very helpful if you call them. Because sometimes, as I told you my experience, they asked me for an additional document, which I didn't know. Like, I was shocked when I arrived there. So it's very important if you ask them, like, these are my documents, like, is this enough? Do I need more? So that you won't need to come back again, especially if you live in another city. So that would be so, it's like it would be a hassle thing for you to do. So tip number 2 is very important. When you apply for the Schengen visa, make sure that you dress well and you look confident. That's very important, guys, because you know, if you're going to apply to visa, make sure that your aura that you're trying to project to these people who are going to accept your documents can see that you are the kind of person who can really travel to Europe and who can afford to travel to Europe. So it's very important that you dress and look good. You look smart to them. I'm not saying that you need to put full makeup, wear high heels, and wear tuxedo. No, what I'm trying to say is that try to look smart, and be confident about yourself. I'm not also saying that you try to intimidate the person who's going to receive your document. No, look smart, casual, so that it will leave an impression to the officer who's trying to receive your documents. Maybe you will add some notes, because sometimes they add notes. Okay, person looks so smart, blah blah blah. That's it. It will work. It can work. So that's why whenever I apply for any visa, I always make sure that I look smart. Like I dress well. I really dress appropriate to them to see that I can be able to, or I can afford to travel to Europe or any Schengen area countries. And then tip number 3, be polite. When you go to any embassy or any third party who would receive your documents, like be polite to the person who's asking some things. And also, it's very important, don't over talk. Like I've seen this many times with other people who were with me applying for Schengen visa. They're answering questions that were not even asked to them. Like, if the officer asks you like, where do you study, or what are you doing, what is your work, answer it directly. You don't have to give, oh, my family has a farm, because it doesn't have to do with you. Especially if things it doesn't have to do to you, you don't need to share it with them. Just answer directly to the point and be polite. I think that's also very important when you're applying for any visa. And then tip number 4, make sure your documents coincide with what you are telling them during the question portion. Make sure that your bank statement coincide with your salary or source of income. Make sure that your flight details, when you're going to check in a specific hotel or any accommodation, because sometimes they would ask you like, there was one time they asked me like, so when you arrive at Austria, what's the name of your hotel? When are you going to do check-in? And I was surprised, I was caught off guard, because I didn't even bother reading my accommodation details. So I think it's very important that you know your accommodation details, flight details, your transfer from one city to another or from one country to another. Try to know these facts, try to remember them as much as possible, or go over these facts like a day or 2 days before you're going to apply for your Schengen visa. And that's it. I think that's all. Those are my tips on how you can successfully apply for your Schengen visa. And I hope these tips will be able to help you, and also my stories and my experiences will be able to help you in your application for any visa. It doesn't have to be Schengen, but I hope that you'll be able to get your visa approved and not denied. So that's it for today. Thank you for watching. Bye!